Hey YouTube, Bob here. Welcome to World of Nintendo. We've got a lot more content like this on the way, so be sure to subscribe and hit the bell for notifications. Give this video a thumbs up and leave a comment to let me know what you think. Here we go. In part 2 of the Nintendo DS Player's Guides videos, we're going to be taking a look at the guide that got the most votes in part 1, and that was none other than New Super Mario Bros. So here is the guide, and just looking at the title here, it's kind of strange to think that it was about 15 years ago that this game came out, and back then it even seemed kind of strange and kind of a clumsy naming convention here to put new at the beginning of Super Mario Brothers. Although I understood why they did it. This is kind of a throwback to the original with some new power-ups, but of course a glossy new sheen over it. And of course it was featured on their hugely popular new handheld, the Nintendo DS. So we have that branding up at the top here, and I always enjoyed that logo. I thought it was great that they took the last O of Nintendo, made it into the DS screen, and then put another one below it. The Nintendo dual screen. So New Super Mario Brothers. This game started a kind of a branch in the path of Super Mario Brothers games that, in my opinion, they were very good games. I enjoyed them very much because 2D side-scrollers are my most favorite genre of game. But I think Nintendo kind of wore out the welcome a little bit because there were just too many. I remember there was New Super Mario Brothers Wii, there was another one on the 3DS, and there was New Super Mario Brothers U, and they all had this kind of sterile aesthetic to it as far as the graphics go. I mean, Nintendo has certainly settled on a standard now as far as what the Mario universe looks like, and it looks nice for sure, but I think these graphics got a little bit sterile, and they were just putting out too many of these 2D side-scroller games, and that's coming from a 2D side-scroller fan. But regardless, each one of them had that Nintendo level of quality. But this was the first one that came out on the hugely popular Nintendo DS. So let's take a look and see what the player's guide looks like. We've got that black branding there on the spine. Then on the back here, new super strategies. And then there's that Mario jumping up with his block-bopping fist. Mario's return to platforming is cause for a Koopa-crushing celebration. Use the official player's guide to get the most out of your retro-fueled adventure. So that's definitely what they were trying to capitalize on there, was the retro feel, hence the new Super Mario Brothers. But 15 years later now, not quite so new, but still a very fun game. Just paging through this guide before I did the video, it made me want to pop it in my DS and play it again. This one also had very fun multiplayer. I remember having a real good time with a couple of my friends with that. 80 levels, still huge. Warps and secrets revealed. Always going to have warps, and tips for grabbing the 240 star coins. Carrying over that collecting mechanic that became popular with Super Mario 64. And then here they give you screenshots, what the top screen would look like. And this was kind of neat how with the item block, or item box rather, that was introduced in Super Mario World, that was carried over here, but now it's just on your bottom screen. All you had to do was touch it, and then it would let you use your second item you had in reserve there. And it was nice that there was a little bit of a progress meter showing how long until the goal for that particular level, and then your star coin collection was here, not cluttering up the HUD on your action screen. So let's crack the guide open and see what we have. Iconic Mario and Luigi and that aesthetic, which I don't dislike, but it's a little sterile in my opinion. But definitely has become the standard for Mario, or Super Mario art moving forward. Table of contents, we got an introduction, and then of course there are walkthroughs for each of the 8 worlds, and then they go into the multiplayer and mini games here. So we'll take a look at the introduction, World 1, and then we'll take a look at the cover pages for each of the other worlds, and then we'll explore a little bit the multiplayer and mini games. So plumber power to the rescue. Mario there, Mega Mario, stepping on a small block there. Princess Peach has been kidnapped again, and only Mario can save her again. So, kind of self-aware here that Nintendo is letting you know, yeah, this series isn't really about the story, as you know, it's about the gameplay. To rescue the princess, the mustachioed plumber will need to traverse perilous plains, deadly deserts, slippery slopes, lethal lava, and much more. So again, of course, as we can see in the screenshots, trying to have a varied world to visit. Very nice to see those different backgrounds and backdrops returning. Many obstacles and enemies stand in Mario's way, but with this guide at your side, you'll be able to thwart Bowser, get the girl, and still be home in time for some piping hot lasagna. Interesting. We've got Get the Girl and Piping Hot Lasagna. I wonder if Nintendo has gotten away from some of those stereotypical tropes moving forward. Of course, they aren't doing player's guides anymore, but even as recently as 2005, some of that language was making its way into their player's guides. Controls. Now this is interesting. They got a screenshot here of the original style Nintendo DS, and I may be wrong, but I seem to remember that this game made its debut at the same time or around the same time as the DS Lite. I remember playing it way more on the DS Lite than on this original DS, but you know, these player's guides are in development at the same time as the game, so maybe they weren't ready to pull the veil back on that hardware, didn't have access to a picture yet. But it tells you what's going on both screens here and what actions are mapped to which buttons, and then the different modes for the game on the menu select screen. Then on this page we're going through some of the basic moves that Mario has. Got the jumping and attacking. You can throw shells just like you could in the early games. Swimming, climbing, and swinging is a little bit more pronounced in this game than in some of the previous iterations. Dashing and crouching. So pretty much all the basic moves that we've become accustomed to over the years of having Mario games. Then we've got some of the advanced moves. The wall jump. I think this might be the first time that the wall jump made its 2D debut, because we know the first time Mario did this was in Super Mario 64 in his first 3D game, but here it is in the 2D reiteration. Got the incline slide that we first were introduced to in Super Mario Bros. 3. The crouch slide that we've been doing since the original Super Mario. Triple jump from Super Mario 64. The wall slide, which was also in Super Mario 64. Ground pound. Well, that was also Super Mario 64, and Gap Dash, that dates back to the original Super Mario Brothers. So they're getting all the nostalgic feels in this game in the advanced moves, all doing it in 2D now. Kind of interesting that they were able to make those mechanics that were originally designed for either 2D or 3D work just as well, only in 2D. Mario suits. Not nearly as many as we saw in Super Mario Bros. 3, but there's the Super Mushroom, Fire Mushroom from the original Super Mario Bros., and then making their debut here for New Super Mario Bros. Is Mega Mario, where you get huge, and then there's a meter there, so how much you destroy is, you know, how quickly your meter depletes. Shell Mario, which is relatively new. I think there was something, no, I can't remember. Was it Kuribo Shu? I think, no, that's a different one. There was a Shell Mario power-up in Super Mario Bros. 3, although I can't remember the name. Help me out in the comments with that one. But that's a returning power-up from Super Mario Bros. 3. And then Mini Mario here is making its debut. Items and power-ups. We got the Super Mushroom, Mega Mushroom, Mini Mushroom, 1-Up Mushrooms. Lots of variations of the mushroom. Blue Koopa Shell, Fire Flower, Starman, Vine, Gold and Blue Coins, Red Coin Ring, and Star Coins. So on this page, it's looking like the Mega Mushroom and the Mini Mushroom and the Blue Koopa Shell. Those are pretty much the new power-ups, because we got red coins in Yoshi's Island, which branded here in the United States, that was Super Mario World 2, so we're going to count that. Star coins or Yoshi coins, we were seeing those in Super Mario World. So yeah, just the two different mushrooms and then the Blue Koopa Shell. Moving over to this page of items, the question block, invisible block. That one I think, oh gosh, this might have made its debut here. The invisible blocks. Coin blocks, definitely not new. Wing block, we saw that in Super Mario World as the roulette block, also in that game. P-switch, Super Mario Brothers 3. Question switch, we saw, well, an exclamation switch, I think, in Super Mario World, but same idea. And then there's the exclamation switch itself. Toad houses have returned with some games. Those were originally in Super Mario Brothers 3. And then the reserve items from Super Mario World. So in addition to the 2D gameplay, a lot of the items here, and we're going to see in the bestiary or the baddies section, a lot of those things are making their way into this this new Super Mario Brothers game. Lots of good nostalgic feels all around. So here's the enemies. We got the variations of the Goombas and the Dry Bones. All the different Koopas, including the flying ones. Variations of Bullet Bill and Thwomp that they're calling Tumbling Terrors. Aerial Irritants, that's funny. We got Swoop, which I think he was called Swooper in Super Mario World. And then Crober, interesting names here. Got Pokey, the Prickly Predator, and Critter Kebabs. Wiggler and Squiggler, the variant. Short Fuse Shufflers, one of my favorite Mario baddies because it's my namesake, Babam. And then we've got Kabam. Scuttlebug. Beastly Beetles, Buzzy Beetle that we would first see in Super Mario Brothers 3, and Spike Top that we would first see in Super Mario World. Spiny was first seen in Super Mario Brothers. Fire Snake from Super Mario Brothers 3. And then some variations on the Boos, which the first time we saw Boo was in Super Mario Brothers 3. Got some of the mega baddies as well. I know the Cheep Cheep. There's a big version of that right here. Mega Cheep Cheep. Deep Cheep. Mega Deep Cheep. Cheep Chomp. And then Blooper that we saw for the first time in Super Mario Brothers. Nautical Nightmares, we got a shark named Sushi, Unagi, and Mega Unagi. All the Hammer Bros, which were the most difficult enemy in the original Super Mario Brothers. Some snow-specific foes in the form of Snow Spike and Snailicorn. And then amphibious antagonists. Those will cause you some problems too. You got the Skeeter. Skeeter, I think the first time we saw Skeeter was in Super Mario 64 in one of those water levels. So kind of just skim across the top really fast. And then Spike Bass. That looks like something from Yoshi's Island. That big fish that would come up and try to eat you. Happened in Super Mario World too. Or Super Mario Brothers 3 rather. Trundling Trap, Spike Ball, Giant Spike Ball. Bulbous Beasties, Chain Chomp, Amp, and Flame Chomp. Saw a lot of those in either Super Mario Brothers 3 or Super Mario World. Floral Horrors, we've got the Piranha Plant, Venus Fire Trap, Super Piranha Plant. Scourge of the Skies, Lakitu makes his return here. Block Imposters, Block Hopper that would hop around and be really annoying. First saw those in Super Mario Brothers 3. And then the Cowardly Coin Purse named Moneybags. So lots and lots of beasts, a lot of baddies. World bosses here. These were pretty creative. I like the Mummy Pokey, Cheap Skipper, a lot of mega versions. They were using that scaling in the DS hardware. Petey Piranha, Monty Tank. First time we saw Monty Mole was in Super Mario World. Lackey Thunder, Bowser Jr., and then of course Bowser. So then here we've got the world map. This makes its return from Super Mario Brothers 3 and Super Mario World. You got your overworld map showing you that if it's a black circle, it's locked. Red, it's unlocked and waiting to be explored. And blue means that you completed it. And of course, you want to try to get 3 of your star coins in each one. So we got a little bit of a general map here and then the more illustrated version on the top screen. And then you can actually just tap to a world to go to that world. So that was really, really convenient on that bottom screen there. The world map was a welcome quality of life addition to the series. Talking a little bit about special levels in the form of ghost houses that we would see for the first time in Super Mario World. Towers that we would see for the first time in Super Mario Bros. 3. And then, of course, the castle. There were castles in the original Super Mario Bros. You got the Toad houses, types of games you could play. It says that Red Toad House. In Red Toad houses, you'll be given a chance to hit a giant roulette block that cycles between a super mushroom, a fire flower, a blue Koopa shell, and a mini mushroom. The item you win will go straight into your reserve slot. Green Toad House. You'll play a game in which you hit blocks to reveal 1-up mushrooms. The game will end when you reveal the hidden Bowser card, and your accumulated prizes will fall to the floor. It's best to visit Green Toad houses after you save your game so you can reset and try again if you get an unlucky break. And then Orange Toad houses. They're like Red Toad houses, but the prize is always the same, a Mega Mushroom. You can eat your Mega Mushroom in a block or pipe-filled levels to score 1-ups, or save it to tear through a level that you've been having trouble beating. So those are the variants of the Toad houses in this game. So here we enter into the first in-depth look at a particular world, World 1. On the cover page, they give you some art below the title of the world, and then they give you a layout of the map. All lettered here showing you where each part is, and then of course you end on Bowser's castle here with a sort of tower level in the middle. So it's looking like each page is dedicated to one world, World 1-1. Got a happy overworld level here, pretty typical for a Mario game. And then in standard fashion, World 1-2 is an underground level. Got one page dedicated to that. World 1-3 is what Nintendo typically dubs an athletic level, where you have to do lots of jumping on platforms. In this case, mushrooms. You get to kind of the midpoint here in the World 1 Tower, a vertical level. World 1-4, kind of going back to grassy plains and hills. World 1A is a water level. Takes a little bit more than a page. World 1-5 is a sky level with some athletic mechanic going on here with jumping on mushrooms. And then a page is dedicated to the World 1 Castle, and they give you some strategies for defeating the boss, which is a variant of Bowser. So each world after that is going to get a similar treatment with nearly one page of coverage for each stage. So here we've got World 2 with Lackey 2 is the art. And then World 3 with a Cheep Cheep. World 4 has some piranha plants. World 5 has a Hammer Brother. World 6 has a Bullet Bill. World 7 has a red Koopa Paratroopa. And of course, World 8 has Bowser the Menace. So then once you get past the coverage of World 8, there's a small section dedicated to the mini games and other modes. But before we take a look at that, let's take a look at the boss. Yeah, it gives you strategy for the final Bowser here, but of course it doesn't reveal or ruin any of the ending sequence or credits. So that was always nice about these guides. So, multiplayer and mini games. What do we got? Mario versus Luigi. Going to use a wireless connection between two DS systems. When you play Mario vs. Luigi mode, you will have the choice of playing against another new Super Mario Bros. Owner or an opponent who doesn't have a copy of the game. The game loads more quickly if both players have a copy, but is identical otherwise. The player who starts the game can choose the mode, select his preferred character, Mario and Luigi have the same set of abilities, and wait for a friend to show up. If your opponent has his own copy of the game, he should select the same mode and choose the opposite brother to make a connection. And an opponent who doesn't have a copy of the game will need to choose the DS Download Play option from the Nintendo DS menu screen. When both players have agreed to compete, the player who started the game can select the rules of engagement. So we got Mario versus Luigi, battle levels, and then the mini games. I always liked the Whack-A-Monty. That was fun with the stylus, you know, poking at the Monty moles that would pop up. But we've got Snowball Slalom, Lucky to Launch, Danger Ba-Bomb Danger, Run Ba-Bomb Run, Balloon Racing, Snowball Slam. Then some puzzles. I don't remember these. I don't think I did the puzzles too much. Wanted, Witch Wiggler, Hide and Boo Seek, Puzzle Panel, Coin Centration, that's clever, Loves Me, which has to do with a flower, and then cards. Definitely didn't play the cards game. That's not really my bag there. Looks like we got some variations of poker or solitaire, something along the lines of that. And then variety one-on-one. Got Mario Slides versus Mario Slides, Sort or Splode, Ba-Bomb Sudden Death, Bounce and Trounce. Kind of looks like that Yoshi game that they put out on the DS, where you would create a path using your stylus. Jumping Brothers, Ba-Bomb Squad, Lucky to Launch. Got some repeats here. These are the verses. That one's a versus one. Trampoline Time, Jumping Sudden Death, Ba-Bomb Trampoline versus Trampoline Time, and versus Paragon. So in addition to the already very lengthy 2D side-scroller game, they did a really nice job including some extra content here in the form of these games. And then Toad's Secret Tricks. There are a few bonuses hidden in New Super Mario Bros. To unlock them all, you'll have to meet the conditions as laid out below. Playing as Luigi looks like one of them. Special background patterns. When you load a save file in which you've already beaten the game, you'll discover a blue Toad house at the beginning of World 1. Inside are 4 background patterns for the lower screen that you can purchase with extra star coins. The 5th final background will appear for sale when you've cleared every star coin sign in the 8 worlds. Interesting. Unlimited Toad House items. When you load a save game in which you've already cleared every level in the game, including all the lettered bonus levels, Toad Houses will no longer disappear after you take their items, with the exception of the ones that appear based only on your timer. It's an all-you-can-eat Mega Mushroom buffet. So, got some of those extra bonuses there. And then on the inside back cover, we've got the ad for Nintendo Power Magazine, sporting the issue here that was debuting New Super Mario Bros. So, that'll do it for this edition of the Nintendo Player's Guide series. We're getting towards the end here because the next console up is Wii, and that's the last one that Nintendo published the guides for before passing the torch on to Prima Games. So we'll be taking a look at those for the Wii console, and then that'll wrap it up. So until then, stay tuned to World of Nintendo for lots of content that I have coming for you, and take care. You'll see me in the next one.